Hello, I'm Nicholas Yates. Today I'm going to be talking about resumes and how to make yours stand out from the rest. I'll be using a set of slides from M. Reba, and they are from De Anza College. A resume has one specific purpose, and that's to win an interview. You only have a page, maybe two, to convince your employer or your potential employer that they want to interview you. So how are you going to make yours appeal to them? I'll be talking about these things in the overview, and I'll be talking about mostly things about the resume that will be applicable to us and in your real life. Throughout this lecture, please feel free to pause the movie and you can read the slides in a lot more detail. I won't be spending too much time on each slide, so you may need to pause it and take a closer look for yourself. Let's talk about the roles of the resume. What you're trying to do is generate interest in you. You're trying to attract each employer to your set of skills, and then what you need to do is tailor your skills to their needs. Some common headings and sections in a resume may include education, work experience, skills, and also achievements. Education, we're doing that right now. And so what sort of courses have you done that will help your employer? Remember, each job you apply for should have a personalized resume. That means you may chop and change so that you tailor each resume to the job interview or to the job application. Work experience. You may not have any now, but in the future you'll need to include this on your resume. Skills come from work you've done in education, also volunteer work, and skills you've picked up along the way. So be sure to list these in that are applicable to the job. Achievements, you may have received class awards or department awards, university awards, even sporting achievements can suggest leadership and teamwork, things like this. Some of the optional headings, you might have a highlight or summary of qualifications. That's when you get a lot of different qualifications under your belt. At this point, you need to pick and choose which qualification will be beneficial to your job application. Publications, you may not have any publications at all, and this is okay. It's an optional heading for academics. Now, you may have proprietary developments and patents, things that you've developed that other people use. Specifically, proprietary developments relate to technology, so you may come up with something later that you may need to include on your resume. Controversial headings and subjects. An objective. Your objective should be definitely tailored to the job application, and each resume should have a different objective, if not just slightly different. Some employers may just breeze past this because they know that your objective is to work for them. So why would they hire? Why would they bother looking at it? Some people write too much in this, and so it takes up too much time. Remember, you've got one page. How are you best going to use it? Voluntary service. This lists, the work you've done in your own time. I think this is a great way to demonstrate that you have caring and that you're kind. You'll give your time for others. However, some other people might say that this means that you will go off during your job and work for free in other areas. And so they may not see this, they may see this as controversial. Interests is another controversial heading. Interests show that you might be interested in individual or team sports, might show you have specific qualities that are associated with the sport. But this is a little controversial because of the space that it takes up. The next part is work history. You may not have any work history at the moment, but you surely will soon. Only give your work history when it's credible to your job application. That means that it's relevant and has a potential to interest your employer or potential employer. You definitely need to highlight skills and experience. This can be done in a few ways, which we'll see next. Be aware of age discrimination means that you don't want to put everything on your resume that may hinder you from getting a job. For example, if you're going for just a regular work position and you've been a leader or manager before that, then you've got to decide, is it best to put this on? And give dates. Often employers like to know what you've been doing and when. There's a number of ways to give this, so we'll see that now. So now we're going to look at chronological versus functional resumes. These are the two most common types of resumes out there. I'm going to just breeze through this very quickly. Please pause this or look at the actual slides to read about chronological and functional resumes in more detail. Basically, the chronological is separated by dates. This is typical when you've worked in one area and your skill set remains the same. A functional focuses more on your ability and skills within your resume, and you may or may not use dates for this. Okay, so the chronological will just outline dates, jobs by dates, and will hopefully your skill set is improving throughout that time. Perhaps you want to highlight different skills. You'll then have at the forefront of the resume, at the front, you'll have specific skills that relate to the job, and going down, all these skills relate to the job application somehow. The chronological resume is more accepted, but I think times are changing and the functional is used more often than before. Some websites won't allow a functional resume, so you've got to check your job application criteria before you submit. Let's just have a look at the examples of a chronological resume. You can see all dates there listed in a sequential order, and then the functional resume. Well, they've given their teaching experience, but they've also given skills. This is similar to a hybrid, but it is skill based. Notice the verbs at the beginning of the sentences. These are important, and we'll talk about these later. So let's look at some of the content in greater detail. Okay, you'll need to definitely have a look at the job listing and the company website. See what phrases they use. See the types of verbs, the content that they give on their website. Give this back to them in the resume and also the cover letter. Now you must concentrate on the job. Okay, what skills do you have and experience that will help you tailor your resume for each time you apply to a job? Prioritize. You only have 1 page for this assignment and 2 maximum for when you submit a resume to a job. So most important skills should be at the beginning. Stress achievements. Provide tangible results, i.e., that means if you say you did something, give an example that can be proven. This is always best. Length, 1 page if possible, 2 maximum. Follow industry guidelines. When you apply for jobs, then you'll need to certainly do a bit more research and find the industry guidelines. The next one is looking at key points of your resume. If the resume is too long, people get overwhelmed reading it and they may not be able to see the key points. What key points do you want to highlight in your resume? I would try to pick out 5 key points and highlight that throughout the resume. We'll talk more about that in class. Some of the controversial items on resumes. Objective. There's some things that there are in favor of this and also against. I think you should read this in your own time. I won't go over it now, but you decide. Will you use an objective at the beginning of your resume? Interests. Interest is also controversial. I talked about this earlier. You can look at the arguments for and against. And in the end, again, you need to decide. Consider your audience, consider your job, consider the job application. What's most important for you getting this job? Okay, resume style. Again, I'll quickly talk about this. I think you should read more about this in your own time. Okay, avoid first person. You don't need to say I all the time. This is important. Your resume has your name on it. They're not going to mix you up with someone else. Be consistent, okay? We would recommend that all sentences, well, most sentences when you're describing skills and abilities, should be imperatives. We're going to talk about that now. To use the proper tense. Okay. Use present tense for job that you currently have. These are things that you're doing now. And the past tense for the tasks and things that were completed in a previous job. Use strong action verbs. Did or was responsible for. They don't express achievement and they don't concretely convey meaning. Okay, this means that it's kind of up in the clouds. You don't really get a strong picture of what you've done. What are strong action verbs? Well, there's a list that is on the next slide here. These are great for a resume, and your resume should include a lot of them. These are good verbs to start the sentences and start your imperative sentences. Bullet lists. Okay. Use bullet lists when possible, and when you do use a bullet list, I would recommend using the imperative sentence there. Okay, don't just include one bullet in a list. It must be two or more. And as I've said many times before, start each bullet with a powerful concrete verb. This is your imperative. Bullet list styles, you'll see there. Don't overload each bullet point. You'll see that in the example, there's too much information in the first bullet point. Second and third are okay, and the fourth one is ideal. Remember, if they're interested in you, they're going to ask you for an interview. And in that interview, they're going to ask you, for example, the fourth one, how did you conduct a needs assessment? How did you conduct a performance evaluation? Tell me more about how you conducted measurements. So, at that point, you're able to expand on your bullet points. One of the core technical writing skills is to be concise. Okay? This is something that I'm going to stress in every single writing practice we could do. Be short and concise, but concrete and specific and descriptive. This is essential. We've talked about repetition before. If you repeat yourself, is it really important? What else are you leaving out because you've repeated yourself? Stress critical information. This is the information that's going to get you the job interview. This is important. Okay, some resume do's. They are listed here. Remember, tailor your resume for each application. You should definitely be concise. Even though you're sending it through email, they'll still open your resume within Word or maybe Pages. So can you be creative with your formatting of your resume? Always keep it relevant and personalize each resume with words and ideas that will help you from the website and job listing. The bottom one, stress transferable skills for a career change. Perhaps you've been in business for a long time, but you're changing to IT. What skills that you accumulated through your business career will help you when you change to an IT career? Resume don'ts. Don't be negative or don't waste space. Don't include controversial topics. These are all pretty standard. And then there's some expressions that you shouldn't use. Okay, and also excessive or meaningless marketing speak. Okay, no one likes this. There's a few more. Don't include references available upon request, because if they give you an interview, they'll want to see them, so it's meaningless. The last thing I want to talk about is just the resume written in Microsoft Word, which you'll do now. So there's a few tips here for the purpose. Okay, why you would include your resume make your resume in Microsoft Word. Formatting, please read these carefully. It'll be useful to you definitely for this assignment and to make your resume. Presentation, okay, double check everything. You're going to be assigned a partner to peer edit your work. please help them to double check. Okay, delivery. I would always include my resume as a PDF. That way things won't get misplaced if they open it in a different program. And if you're going to mail it, then there's some tips there. Addition. So that's it. The end. Fantastic. This has been a flipped learning presentation of resumes for Zayed University's course, CIT300, Technical Writing. Remember,